Town meeting.
Everybody, can you believe another week, another question and answer? So today, after I get through my regular business, I'm going to talk about cushions. Just a little preview. Let's talk cushions. And as usual, Jimmy is in the studio audience, and Jimmy's way up on aisle 32B up there, way up in the
Yeah, I paid
balcony.
some serious money for this season.
It could take him a little while to get down here, but as you can see, his hi Randy, and you can see over here. Oh, am I working, you guys? Randy's got a picture of a monkey wrench, we used to call them. Jimmy, you remember calling them monkey wrenches? I'm
Yeah,
not
you
sure if
can't
that
call them
means.
that now. You're insulting them.
Well, I don't know about that. Jimmy, I'm not sure if Randy is saying that this isn't working or what. I don't know. You can.
You lived with those things. Those things.
Yes, Randy says yes. Okay, good. Nice to see you, Randy. And as usual, if you can help out a little bit in some of the answers that people might have, that would be great. So we have some people waiting now or viewing us now, and as usual, so if you're new to this show and you just happen to be upon us, what we do is we have a YouTube channel for free, which is a greatest word in the English language, right, Jimmy?
Yeah. Very good.
Free, except for the people who want to go over those turnstiles at the T, right? That's not free. That's
that doesn't add to my pension. I can tell you that.
And we have the Facebook forum, which Jimmy is the administrator of. Hi, Daphne. How are you? And thank you for joining us. And we have the online classes that you guys should check out. And we have the Upholstery on Broadway, which you can buy supplies. Daphne has been a great patron of that, and we appreciate that. Really, it keeps us going. You know, we do a lot of things. I think the bulk of what we do is just available to anybody. And I've talked about that before. I'm proud of that YouTube channel. We've done the best possible thing that we can do. We don't know how else to do the YouTube channel any better than that, except that what we did was we realized that on online classes that are paid for, there is more camera angles that are done. And so I think that is good value too. And I think that's what we hear from our people. So, and Daphne says she's got to place another order. And if you guys want, you can ask Daphne questions about that and what her experiences are. Admittedly, it's just a little slow on that end of things. I don't keep, I don't have a huge warehouse full of supplies. I wish I did. So sometimes there's delays, and the supply chain is kind of delayed some items, not all, not a lot. We're not forced, not really in too much trouble with that. But I should talk a little bit about that because on fabrics, you have to be very careful if you're selling fabrics to somebody. I just had a fabric that we sold in August, and I just got it. The customer happened to be very patient, which I was grateful for, but I really don't want that to happen. So you know what I did, you guys? And I have a company now. I don't mind telling you, it's Greenhouse, and they can actually do physical checks in the warehouse. They're not big companies can't do that. They can't. They might tell you they have 10 yards, but when they do a physical check, they might have 2 yards. This happens a lot. You'd be surprised. But that's why you need somebody to partner with that you trust, that will okay, put me on hold. I want you to walk out. The person I'm talking to, walk out into the warehouse. So important these days. Walk out and my suppliers too. I'm trying to do this too. Walk out to the warehouse. Make sure you have what I'm ordering. I don't want to hear in a week that it's been back ordered for 6 months. Just got to try to avoid that. Anyhow, I had a woman come in today. She had a sectional done with another upholsterer. I won't say who it is, and she was very unhappy about the cushionings. So it gave me an idea to talk about cushions, which I probably can fill in question and answers from here until next year about cushions, but I'm going to try to give you a good overview. And if you guys have any questions, you can ask Randy. I think he probably will have the answer to most of them. But we'll get to that in a minute. So subscriptions, please subscribe if you're looking at this for the first time. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Hi, SG, I mean, and Pamela. Hi, Pamela. Thanks for joining us. So let's get to some of the questions that Patrick has sent me on YouTube. and also Facebook. So let's just get that up. So we'll do the YouTube first, I guess. Okay, so now we got one from Janine. Janine always looks at the question and answers later because she's overseas. So she says on the club chair reupholstery A to Z part, oh boy, part 8. Part 8, you believe that? And I guess this is one thing we can improve with the channel. We've gotten great response on the A to Zs. Unfortunately, my time sometimes doesn't allow that. So I'm sorry about that. But this one is really popular. Janine says, great work as usual. Thank you. Judy is commenting about the live upholstery show question and answer. She says, may I send a photo of an antique walnut dining room chair with arms? It is made by Royal Furniture, Robert W. Irwin. I am confused as to how to work around the front leg. I have pictures of the original tapestry fabric from the early 1900s. Yeah, I would say, Judith, send that along. You can send it to the website, Upholstery on Broadway at gmail.com, and we'll take a look at that if you like. Sure. And then this one here is a new person, Jimmy.
What?
From Australia, I think.
Oh, I wish.
Yep, this is a new person, Jimmy.
Oh, well, looks like we'll have to do a remote from Australia.
All expenses paid by.
Yeah, well, yeah, GoFund. I think we're gonna start that GoFund again, right?
You know, sometimes you could be embarrassed by those GoFunds, Jimmy. You know, sometimes you only get a couple of pennies or dollars, and that can
That's
be.
okay. We can travel by boat. We'll be stowaways.
You know, I was thinking about this. I have that 1840 wing chair, and it dawned on me that people used to just sit in their chairs and read books and travel that way. Very few, very wealthy people used to steamboat across the Atlantic, right? And you know what the funny part about that, Jimmy? Do you realize that in the 1800s, about that time frame, 1840s to 1860s and beyond a little bit, that the steamships were a big deal. You take a trip. It used to be in the newspaper when people would be vacationing on a steamship. They would have the names of the people going and where they were going and
who was who. Yeah.
How times have changed. You wouldn't want to tell the whole world that you were going now because you know what would happen, right? You'd have every thief at your door, right?
Yeah, they're going away for a month. This is where they're residing right now.
Yeah. But I was on a point there. But so read a book, Jimmy. You don't have to spend the money on a vacation, Jimmy.
Well, thank you for that.
So, hi from Australia. Since starting to watch you 1 week ago, I have webbed, resprung, padded out, and now I'm about to cut the fabric for the first time after first cutting a prototype to get the cuts right, which worked out really well, but still nervous about cutting the real fabric. Your videos are fantastic. We'll post a picture of my chair if it works out well. Thanks, Kevin and Broadway Upholstery team, school, and everybody else. Even Jimmy.
Is that what they said? Is they worried about that? Feel bad,
Don't worry about it, Jimmy. Listen, the best place to post is the Broadway Upholstery School, right, Jimmy? Speaking of Jimmy, he's been the administrator in a very high-paid position since the beginning of that Broadway Upholstery School.
I got 2 coffees and a donut out of it.
How is it? And I tried to buy Jimmy a cup of coffee, but we ran into
how often is that? Every time I come in, oh Jimmy, I gotta have your coffee. Oh geez, Kevin, look what I have in my hand.
Well, I did try to buy him a cup a couple of weeks ago. We ran into a police friend of mine, and he bought us both a cup of coffee, right, Jimmy?
Yes, that was so nice of him. I was impressed. I definitely will. If I ever see him again in the Dunkin' Donuts or around the city, I definitely will wave to him, say thank you so much for that coffee.
Yeah. Annie says, I'm a beginner. Love your tutorial. Can you help me with the best tools to have so I can have it all set up before I thought that was the end, so I could have it all. But it goes on instead of that. This is how she says it. So I can have it all set up before I start my project. Thank you. So I think we already answered. And this was in response to basic fabric cuts, which was a very popular video. And I think what we did was told to go to Upholstery on Broadway, where we have the store where I've handpicked pretty much all the tools that you need. Which, believe it or not, and Daphne, you probably can speak on this, and all you guys who have started, and Randy probably remembers this. It's not a huge startup with upholstery. That's one of the nice things about it. As a matter of fact, we designed the kit that you can use either tools that you buy, specialized tools, or tools in your kitchen drawer. You don't have to spend any more money except for the kit. So that's interesting. We designed it both ways because we know that there are people out there, believe it, with inflation and everything. Gas $4 a gallon, you guys. I think upholstery is going to be getting very popular. It's already, I think, gained a lot of ground, both for the DIYs and also for the professional upholsterers. I think we're getting busy. I think people recognize that upholstery is a worthwhile venture. I think too, when people go in and they want to put down, they want to buy new furniture, they're told, Jimmy, sometime I heard the other day, 66 weeks. They're not even saying months anymore. They're telling you weeks.
Wow.
66 weeks for the new furniture to come in. And then usually what happens when you get close to that date, they'll say, oh, it's not going to come in. They're
Well,
backdooring
yeah,
it.
sometimes they get close to the order, they will do that a lot, and that's probably not, and
I wouldn't want to be reliant on people who are working, God love them, overseas or even in the next country over, with the way things are going right now with shipping and everything else. Hey, you got your local upholsterer. Your local upholsterer sit there waiting for you to come in, and they can do the job, and they can do it well, and you don't have to worry about a 66-week backlog for furniture. I think people should even look into buying used furniture. And this has never happened in the industry, you guys, where people, I've used to say to people, go buy some furniture and I'll reupholster it. Used furniture is very cheap. You go to Goodwill, one of these places, right, Jimmy?
Facebook community, it has an awful lot of.
There you go. You buy a nice solid with good bones, and you can let your upholsterer upholster it for a fraction of the cost and a fraction of the time, Jimmy.
Right, exactly. I mean, it's a good practice, and I think once you get started and again watching the videos and picking up the classes, you'll definitely get a better idea of what you should be doing, and hopefully help you along.
And for the last one, the YouTube comment, the Upholstery Show Live, we have Ian says, thanks for doing these. I can't watch them live, but I get great value from them watching them later, which is interesting. I never really thought the live question and answer, but we do cover a lot. So it's informative, I hope. It's different than taking a class, right, Jimmy?
Yes, I mean, definitely when you have the hands-on class, you are getting the, practice and theory. Okay, this is what I need to do, and I think that's important. But hopefully, maybe we'll figure out something that we can, do something live and take it from there and see what we can, show step by step if we can.
Randy just said he started with a tape measure, a tack hammer, a staple puller, and a good pair of scissors. An electric staple, he says. We're got an electric stapler. How is that, Randy? Every time you pull the trigger, the pulse goes through your whole body, right? And he says, thank you for helping out as you continue to help out, Randy. Thank you on that, because it's kind of hard doing everything. So we have the Facebook, Jimmy. How is the Facebook going, Jimmy? How many people a day?
I'm getting at least 6 a week.
6 a week. So you're getting like one a day.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, all different times. I mean, I'm up early in the morning, and I'll go through my Facebook sometimes, and someone's looking to become a member here, and I think that's great.
How many people do you think are on the Broadway Upholstery Facebook page?
Oh God, I've lost track. I have not. We're over at least 200.
That's good. Now I want to show this beautiful chair that Pam has completed, you guys. Will you look at that? That's a difficult process, and we'll talk about that in a minute. That's a very difficult chair. She's got it nailed. It looks great. It's fantastic. So Pam, fabric loves to wrap around the outside back, but not so on the inside back, eh? As you found out. So let's see what she says. She stripped this chair and had some frame repair to do, so it was best painted. It shows this milk paint and blue leopard chenille fabric, Jimmy. Did you see that, Jimmy?
Yes.
I found the Miraculous Mary medal. She did. Remember, she found the Miraculous Mary medal inside the chair when stripping it. So I put it back in the chair when reupholstering. I love that. I found this curved back challenging, but Kevin's tips about putting in a welting was perfect. Mentioned on another project I was working on, and I added a ruffled stretcher after the welting. Who would have thought ruffled stretcher that's not seen by anybody, Jimmy?
I know it.
Isn't that something?
Absolutely.
It's beautiful ruffle. It looks really nice when you sew it all up, and then it disappears in the chair. You never see it. There's something poetic about that, isn't there? Or romantic. Romantic.
Oh God.
What do you
Just
think, Jimmy?
continue on.
Oh, you know romance in you.
I'm as romantic as the next person.
I've met a couple of swing dancers today, by the way. They came in the shop. They took swing classes over there in Somerville and Cambridge. And I wondered if you took those classes, didn't you, Jimmy?
I took ballroom is what I did.
What's the
Even though
difference between
was-
ballroom and swing and
Well, it's sometimes incorporated. If you said, they gave samples, so you might do the waltz, you might do a foxtrot, and there was the swing, which I think is really like a nice thing to do. It's definitely more upbeat, and I think that's a nice thing to do.
what about that country dance where they do the calling? What's that called? Come on.
Oh God,
What's-
I couldn't.
Daphne would know. What do they call that? Come on. They call the dance, take your partner, twirl her around,
Oh,
step over it.
yeah. The only reason I know that is Bugs Bunny did a thing on that. So.
You didn't do those dances?
No, they never did that. Oh, that's the country line dancing.
Yeah, well, they call them.
Why don't you take your wife out someday?
I should. But I have two left feet.
That's okay. Yeah, look at if you can do it, anybody can do it.
I do have a story about a call dance, a country dance way out there in New Hampshire, probably some country, some town you never heard of, right? And the call it goes something like this because the bar, Jimmy, is at an angle like this. The floor is like
so you gotta.
this. So the call is, right, you guys? The call is take your partner, go uphill, twirl around and head downhill.
Oh my God.
Avoid the open windows so she don't fall out.
Oh my God.
I'm not kidding you. You guys can Google that. Okay, so let's get back to upholstery, Jimmy. You always get me distracted.
Yeah, I know. You tend to go off, but pretty soon you start talking about yourself, and then it's like they go, there it goes, right out the window.
Oh my God. A barn dance. Helen says barn dance, of course.
Okay.
We used to learn, Daphne says we used to learn square dancing in gym class. Contra dancing, square dancing. Yeah, that's it. Square dance. That's what I was trying to think of.
Well,
Yeah.
they have the things are starting to open up a little bit, so maybe take the wife out and learn some dancing. Kevin.
Oh, I don't know. I told you I have two left feet. So let's go on to Pam. Let's go. We got a little distracted there, Jimmy.
Yeah, pretty soon we're gonna start doing a watch right here.
No thanks. I found this carved, no offense, back challenging, but Kevin's tip about putting in a welting was perfect. To mention another project, and I added a ruffled stretcher. How did we get from ruffled stretcher to square dancing, Jimmy?
Oh, by the way, Randy, I took ballroom dancing for 2 years, 2.5 years.
Wow, you must have been good, Jimmy.
I was pretty good, yeah.
Wow, you took ballroom dancing. You took upholstery classes.
Yeah.
You took sewing lessons.
Yeah.
You took. Did you try to reduce your Boston accent with one of those
No,
classes?
I didn't take that. No, I will never do that. I will never reduce my Boston accent. I'm gonna sound like Mark Wahlberg all the time.
Okay. What other classes did you take? Because you're a man. What do they call a man like you? They call you a.
Versatile.
No, there's another name.
I don't know.
Bohemian? Bohemian?
No,
Oh, how did you know Randy was asking that question?
because I saw it right here on the question and answer.
Oh, okay. Hey, you're a clever guy, Jimmy. And what? Daphne says, hold on to that accent.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Don't-
baby.
don't let anybody take it away.
I'll even call you for free and give you the accent.
I'm going to show this again. I'm finished reading Pam's post, but I just.
Randy did him for 5 years with his wife. Now that's a loving husband right there.
That's right. Isn't that nice? I wonder if you could take this swing dancing, this chair. Do you need a partner or can you take an
Well, you can
object?
go by yourself, but I mean, it makes it easier if you have a partner.
Go
but-
by yourself.
Well, people learn.
Oh, what they call the line where people are waiting to be danced. They call that line something too.
No, well, no, I mean, when you're in ballroom dancing, generally they have like beginning ballroom, and
Right,
they'll show different examples of dances.
right.
We're gonna get you out more.
Daphne wants to know. Oh, she's asking Pam. That's good. Good question for Pam. Daphne. Now, speaking of Daphne, let me show you the chairs first. Let me show you two chairs a set. She's 99% done with these chairs. I bought them to redo because I thought they were old and had horsehair. I was wrong. But I just had two chairs like that myself. I thought they were a lot older than they were, but they weren't. But they were good reproductions though. But it was a fun challenge to do a fitted seat and curved inside back. We're getting a lot of these. You guys are getting really good if you're doing curved inside backs. I'll tell you that right now. But you need to know the little tricks. And Pam didn't mention something. I want to go back and I want to ask Daphne. I chose the tweed after finding a green thread when stripping the chair. So I like tweed. Tweed works well on these inside curls. Say that 10 times fast. Tweed works well, Jimmy. Say tweed works well 10
I
times.
say fruit float 6 times fast.
So anyhow, you do have to be careful of the fabric. But I wanted to ask Pam, did you take the advice? Did you notice that it kind of breaks the rules stretching fabrics a little bit when you have an inside curl? And did you focus your stretching in the center of the when you had your welt set and you pin tack your ruffle skirt down and then pin tack the top? The next step would be, did you focus your stretching in the center of the chair? I'm pretty sure I mentioned that when we were talking last week, but I just wanted to mention that anyhow. So I'm just going to catch up a little bit on what's been talked about in the comments and maybe make a comment about add to. She's asking Daphne. That was in a question and answer. The ruffled last week's question. Jimmy, do you remember when we were talking about the ruffled stretcher in the question and answer? Was that last week or the week
I
before?
thought that was last week.
I think it was last week, so she could check that out. She wanted to know if they were inside, back, or outside. I think Randy already answered that. Let's see if he answered that. No, he didn't answer that. It's on the inside. You don't see it. Inside, back. Stretch on my chairs. Could do some tricks. They noticed the back. They use sewing and stretching part. Is that a ruffle stretch? They notched the back. They also sewed on the stretching part. Is that, well, the stretcher stretches can be certainly sewn without any ruffling, but the ruffling really helps you be able to pull it. And the fact that you're ruffling makes it stronger. Sometimes if you're just sewing a stretcher on an inside back without ruffling, you can pull it and rip it. If there's so much force that's put on it, the pleat really helps the pulling. It's a really clever trick. Side back. I must have missed it. Yeah. That Pamela's answered that too. So I'm going to get going on my talk about cushions. And then we're going to have Jimmy come up, and Jimmy's going to work a little bit. Let me turn the lights on a little bit here. So I had a customer come in today. Made me think about doing this. She had a sectional done at another a competitor. And I want to talk about this because it's important for you guys who are just starting out in business. Like Blair, I know Blair's great with customer service, and you can be too good with customer service too, if you know what I mean. There was a company in Boston, I won't mention it, but it was way back, and it was made big business, this furniture store, because the woman who opened it, it was the first woman CEO. I'll never forget this. She got a lot of press up front on the furniture store, and she offered really good customer service. And what that means sometimes is giving money back if somebody's not happy, but bending over backwards to make somebody happy sometimes can backfire too. So you have to be careful of that. So it's a fine line when you're in business. So that's why communication is so important when you're writing a job. So let me explain what happened with this upholsterer. So they did a really good job on the sofa. It was a chenille, an ultra suede, a light colored ultra suede, which is really hard to keep clean even when you're working on it. But she showed me pictures. It looked great. Her big issue were the cushions. They really dropped the ball on the cushions. So what happened was they took all the new cushioning out, all the old cushioning out, which wasn't a good idea because she told me she was happy with the old cushion. Listen, you guys, number one rule, if somebody's happy with the way something sits, they're happy with the old cushions, do everything you can to keep the old cushions. At the very most, just maybe do a little rehab on them, maybe a little Dacron here and there. You tell your customer that, and you don't charge them for anything like that. You just do it. But you open up a can of worms when you start changing out foam. This is what happened with this upholsterer. So she was unhappy. So she called. It was too firm. They went out. They changed out the cushioning, all the cushioning on a sectional. You're talking about 15 or 16 cushions, seats and backs. So this was an expense. They changed it out twice, and she's still not happy. And so she just got disgusted, and she came to me. So I'm going to help her out as much as I can. But I'm telling her right now, because I don't know what was in the original cushioning, but I suspect it was a high-end cushion. So I'm going to recommend springing down cushions in the seats. And I'm going to recommend on the backs. I'm going to recommend 50-50 down feather. And it's a very expensive treatment. It's the only thing I can tell her because I didn't. That's the only upgrade for her, really. And we had a candid discussion about the upholsterer, and I never down any other upholsterer. I really don't. I don't get into that. I actually help. I've helped other upholsterers like I'm doing now. I mean, but on a local level, if somebody needs a button, come on in and make it. I don't care. But anyhow, so we were saying, what a shame that, and I commented on how nice the job was. I mean, I saw the cushions. She brought the cushions in. They were beautiful. They're really stitched well, and there wasn't a stain on them or anything. They were really done well. So they got to 95, 96% of the job, and then they kind of dropped the ball. Now they got a customer who's not going to go back, never give them a good review. And I think that they just missed it. So if I can help anybody out there with their projects in this regard, so what do? That's what you do. You talk about the cushions. You make sure you have a good open line of communication. And I think most of the problems start in the very first discussion, the very first talk about the job, right? Very first, okay? So what do? I have my invoices, hard copy, and I have my pen, and I'm talking. I said, so what do you think about it? How do you like it? Do you like the way it looks? Well, my husband doesn't like it, but I do. I said, that's another issue. I won't get into that. But I already told her, in her case, she's got a husband that's tall and she's short. But the spring and down cushions will work for both people because you're talking springs, right? So the very first thing, so you got your work order, you guys, right? Right? I mean, I get the name. I mean, this sounds simple, but I think it's worth revealing. You'd be surprised how many people don't do this and they get in trouble. Named, phone number. That's all I need. The initial estimate really is not that much. I don't even take an address, because I really want to focus on what they're saying, what they're talking about. So in this case, I would have said, okay, she would have come in. I probably would have already seen it in a text, but I wanted to come in. So how do you like the way it's set? Well, first of all, I do one sectional labor cost for now. I start with the labor cost, blah, blah, blah. And then I start talking about how old is the piece? So what's the manufacturer? Oh, it's a good manufacturer. Do you have the original cushions? If I had gotten a hold of her at that point, she would have said yes. I said, how do you like them? She said, I think they're good, except that there's a little wrinkling in the cushions. I said, okay, Dacron wrap. As automatically I know, if she says they're good, keep them. Don't change them. As soon as you change them, you're in trouble. And then, you go from there, you go for pickup and deliveries or pickup and delivery charge from a sales point. You ask before you get to that, though, any changes? Do you like the way it's styled? Most people, I find, Jimmy, Most people like the style. That's why they're redoing it, so you don't have to change the style. The most we do, you guys, we'll take skirt. We've taken a lot of the straight skirts off pieces to make them look a little bit modern. That's one change you can do, and that's what we would ask her. I think in this case, I don't think it had a skirt, but very rarely do people say, if it didn't have a skirt, they want a skirt. But all this is talked about, though, you guys, and so it's all written down. It's all written. All the instructions are down here. All the instructions down here, and then from a sales standpoint, you know, um, if you're starting to add for cushioning, sometimes that throws you right out of the ballgame. And then fabric comes in play. You have to be really good. We've done videos where we talk about how to do fabrics, how to the yardages. I mean, you could check it out on the YouTube. So I was talking about cushions. So the best cushioning that you can get, and not necessarily needed, for sure. Let's talk first about on pieces that don't have back cushions. There are actually three components. There's the loose cushion, loose seat cushion. Let's just talk about her project. There's a loose backs, and there's a third component that people forget about, and that's the spring system. What spring system do you have? Spring system. So you have three of those components. Hopefully, if it's an older piece of furniture, it inherently has, this is the back, sorry about my drawing, and this is the seat. Sorry, a little pitch back this way, sorry. The frame has to be done this way. It has to have like a 10 degree back angle, and the seat probably about 12 degrees is probably the good to have. And then springs down here, and then a loose cushion here and a loose cushion here. Sounds simple enough, right? If you have coil springs, a foam cushion is satisfactory. If you have coil springs, a spring and down cushion is even better. You have a double layer of springs. That's an expensive thing, though. So a lot of people don't want a spring for that, right? The back cushions, to me, there's only one decent back cushion. It's a 50-50 down fella, and if we had a situation over the weekend where a customer wants to change out, got another sectional, doesn't like the way it sits, brought in seat cushions and back cushions. He was mostly complaining about the back cushions, and this is expensive, you guys. There's no doubt about it. They're like $500. The seats are like $500 a piece, and the backs are like $320 a piece. So what I suggested that he do, why don't you just do the backs to see how much of a difference that makes before you commit to the seat? If you like the backs, or if it's still not satisfactory, then you might have to go and fix the seats. So there's this huge discussion that happens. I'm going to catch up on the comments because we might have, if Randy is answering, we might have some questions about that. Inside back fabric on the curses flat, as I could say, they're still talking. Pamela's still talking about that. Yeah. So I guess that's all I want to talk about cushions. I could go on a lot about filling, about what type of foam. I use for most of my basic changes of cushioning. If somebody needs a new cushion, a basic cushion, I'm using a medium ultra foam with the Dacron wrap. And I'll tell you, the Dacron wrap, sometimes people, they open up the cushion, they just see the raw Dacron there. But I'll tell you, instead of making that muslin cover, the Dacron is better because it kind of holds the cushion, the fabric. So that's what I do. On the back, if somebody doesn't want to go to the spring, the recommended 50-50 down feather, we'll do a soft foam with the Dacron wrap. Don't particularly like that because I know you need soft foam and backs. And so I know how easily those distort. I don't usually like doing it. But sometimes you have to. Sometimes there's a lot of price consideration with this work, right? So that's it on that. We'll talk more. If you guys have questions, you can follow up, or you can comment now. It's fine. The cushioning is a big deal. I mean, you see me do a lot of. I like the traditional. If you see the YouTube videos, we've done a lot of traditional furniture, which doesn't have any cushions, right? Upholstery didn't start with loose cushions. It started with springs, and before that, just flat horsehair seats and horsehair. That 1840s chair doesn't have any stitching in it at all. It's only hand stitching. I'm hand stitching the outsides. There's no ply grip. There's no welting. There's no stitching on that chair. And it's a fully upholstered wing chair. So that it's all done by hand. It's really incredible. Hopefully I can show you guys when it's done. But right now, Jimmy is in studio. I have to wake him up. Hello.
Yeah, well, yeah, you can, yeah, yeah. You keep the audience riveted. I think that's the word I want to use.
I'm on my 5th coffee, so it might have been a little
Five.
fast.
I have one, and I'm like, I think I'm good. You have how many?
Oh, we have a few, Jimmy.
Oh my, we gotta get you a coffee maker. That's what we need to get you.
So Jimmy's going to be working over here, and I'm going to give him instruction and walk away. It's kind of what we do on the online. I want to give you a taste, you guys, if you've not seen the online classes, a little taste of what the online classes are like. I think
Minus the humor.
Minus the humor, yeah. We have to check Jimmy once in a while to make sure he
always
realizes.
check me out. I don't know what
I'm not the problem.
yeah, you're never the problem. Even your wife says that. Oh, yeah, he's such a, yeah, okay.
Let me get a hammer, Jimmy, and so I think this is the side that we adjusted the last time. We got tight, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the instructions. Is this the pin, or did we finish that whole side?
No,
I think we only did one half side. Let's turn this around. I want to see this.
Which way you want to go with it? Right there? You want to do that?
I'm just trying
to.
No, we stopped right here. Remember? So what we did was we undid this.
Okay.
Right. So this is what we do, you guys, because we go week to week. So we have to kind of review what we did the first week. We
got into it late. We got into this late, so we kind of had to play.
We want it to be fluid. So Jimmy didn't like the way this came out because it was a little loose.
Yes.
Right. So what we did was we're tightening it up a half side at a time, Jimmy.
Yes.
So we're not undoing. He doesn't want to undo the whole side here because he's going to lose what tension that he earned. Some tension there. He doesn't want to lose that. So what we did last week. And what we did was we identified the problem, right? First of all, was the stretching in this area. He has to kind of carry the stretch down here.
Mm-hmm.
So what we did was we undid his work, and then we held this, right? And then we kind of did a stretch to here, kind of held that, and then kind of carried it down, and then pin tacked here. But look at the extra pin tack I did here, right, Jimmy?
Yeah, you had to do that.
So now you're able to. Now this is important, you guys, right? Instead of going like this and creating those pull marks,
right?
Grasp it, right?
Right.
Grasp it, staple, grasp, grasp it, grasp. All the way about 4 or 5 staples.
So do you start from the
Always
outside
from the middle,
in?
Always from the middle out.
Middle out.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so after you do this, I'm going to give you another set of instructions to see if you can remember. Then I'm going to walk
It's
away.
Monday, for crying out loud.
I'm going to just see what the studio audience is going to be doing after this. I want to talk to
There
people
hasn't
out
been
there.
anybody in the audience.
What are you talking about? We're loaded, Jimmy.
You are on that.
Pretend.
You must have some good stuff you're smoking before this stuff.
Oh, Jimmy, that's not nice. I'm a clean individual.
Oh yeah, okay, all right, clean and pure, driven snow. Got that, everybody?
After you do that,
Yep.
I want you to undo these tacks
Yeah,
and
same.
repeat. Okay, I'm going to stand over here and supervise. So you guys are getting an example here, just how different the online classes are. Because Patrick has there's an overhead, if you see it over here, there's an overhead without a camera up there. And there's usually a tripod over here. And sometimes another camera over here. And sometimes he handhelds the camera. I have the computer. I'm just appreciating what Patrick has done on the online classes because, and the editing that goes beyond that, beyond the camera angles, the editing. It makes me appreciate what he's done because I've got the computer in my hand, trying to get the angles
Well, you can get the audio visual. We can take a course from Patrick. Maybe he can start.
Well, I don't know. I have a lot of respect for what he's done. Okay, not just because he's my son. I have respect for all these people in the industry, in the media industry. What happened, Jimmy? Are you okay? Do you need the
Yeah.
medic?
Medic? No. I know first aid, so I'm good. I think, yeah.
Yeah, but you do first aid on your kid, on yourself?
Hey, look, and I'm yeah, I do. Thank you. So how's that look? Oh, a little bit better.
Jimmy, come on. Why don't you show people the difference between that side and the other side? Turn it around. You're going to be working on the opposite side now, anyhow. You see the difference, you guys? He's gotten rid of most of the pull marks on the other side with that one little knowledge, right? The knowledge of carrying the stretch down, right? You have a 6-inch drop there, so you just can't stretch it on the bottom, right, Jimmy? Now what he's going to do? What are you going to do now, Jimmy? Why don't you
Would
explain?
you like me to take off the staples?
Half
then-
side, right?
Yeah, this is the better side. This is
Yep.
The other side.
Yep. Denise is asking, do you show samples of cushions to the customer? I have to bite the bullet now and buy samples. They're not cheap, especially the spring and down ones. But customers now are asking more. I'm selling more cushions, so I need to get some samples in. So before I wasn't.
Well, I have a project coming up soon that the cushion is, well, it's rather gone.
Now, this is a section of our show where we talk about cushions. Jimmy's going to talk about his cushion. The downfalls of a down cushion. Is that what it is, Jimmy?
Oh, yeah, the downfall of the down cushion.
There are
Um,
downfalls of a down cushion, you guys.
Who wound you up today? That's what I want to know. Who wound you up today?
Jimmy, you're doing a good job. You know, it would help if I
Well, this
move the chair out of the way.
Yeah, you always seen the best side of me, right?
Randy says Jimmy looks like he has a fair amount of cushioning.
I knew it. I knew somebody was going to come with that. It had to be Randy.
That's okay. The same can be applied, Randy, right? To me, I guess.
No, let's not take away 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's not make fun of me.
Yeah. I mean, okay. So now I've got it up.
You got half a side out, right, Jimmy?
I've got the whole.
Why'd you do the whole side, Jimmy? I told you half a side.
Well, we're gonna move this along a little bit, I think.
So now what you got to do, because pull this down
Yeah.
and get at least one tack in the middle.
Okay.
Or staple. You could staple it, pin staple it. Show people how to pin staple. You don't put
with
it
the
all the
pin
way
staple, yeah, with the pin staple, we just keep
Just
it
be
away.
careful, man. Just tilt it a little bit, and it won't go in all the way, but it'd be easy for you to take out. Yeah, that's fine. Well, breathe a lot. So now you always need at least a center tack in to do the left to right thing. Okay, so now you proceed. I don't want you to be nervous, but there are 1 million viewers right now, Jimmy, on here, and they're all watching you with bated breath. And Randy says he's not far behind. Helen has a question I'd like to ask a question about edge roll. Are there times when you wouldn't use edge roll? Is it mainly used in traditional upholstery? No, it's used a lot if it's done properly, and should be in modern furniture. Randy would agree with me, I bet. But I see in modern furniture where they don't use it. and they should use it, because do they care about something's going to wear through? No, they don't. In modern furniture, in new manufacturing. I'm sorry to say that, but it's true. As a matter of fact, they make it last 5 years if you're lucky on new furniture. Either the frame or the fabric's going to wear out, or both. But a custom upholsterer, if he was even doing modern furniture, would definitely. Daphne says she found styrofoam edge. It's better than no edge at all, Daphne. Really. So they're not putting it in a lot of times on this new furniture. No, they just take the foam and they pull the foam over the edge and they staple it. And I'll tell you something. Those edges of the wood are like razor sharp sometimes, and they'll come right through. You guys have seen furniture in your friend's house, maybe your own, where the front has just worn first. That's because it wasn't done properly, right? And Jimmy, are you looking for the next?
Well, no, I'm just in here looking good, passing the time.
Right. Okay. So you're being a wise guy, a Boston wise guy. So did you do this side? Did you do both sides?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yeah, a little better.
So
I feel it was a better job.
So you could tweak it a little bit because you're down here a little bit, right, on one side.
Mm-hmm.
It depending on how picky you want to be. You can usually the tighter side you wanna copy.
Mm-hmm.
So you can do this side to that point. I'll show you what I mean, Jimmy. Do you see it? It's just a little crooked. So it's up to you, but you could pull this down a little bit more on this side and try to match.
Those staples.
You know what I would do, Jimmy? I would undo this one.
Mm-hmm.
Relax that one,
mm-hmm.
and then try to fashion the rest of it off of this one.
Okay.
All right. You're almost there. I'll tell you the good news is after you get this one done,
mm-hmm.
The sides are a little easy to do because you've got the stretch. You've got a good stretch. You didn't know about that, about the square dance call up there in New Hampshire, Jimmy, huh?
The square dancing is very big in New Hampshire.
Yeah, it's true.
Very big. New Hampshire, Vermont, Maine. Maine is very country.
There's a couple of bonds in Vermont that are complete circular bonds. That must be an interesting call, huh, Jimmy?
Well, I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to drop a little line to your little bride there and say, Karen's been really dying to get those country line dances. Oh, I think you guys need to get away for a weekend. I think, yeah. I'll drop the line to her. I can do that for you. Don't worry about it.
Oh, you're gonna get me in trouble, Jimmy.
Oh, come on. We'll have the second coming of Fred Astaire. Just be, pretty soon you guys will be going on tour and all those things that what professional dancers do. There's nothing like
Jimmy, you're really dating yourself with Fred Astaire, man.
Well, I mean, who else do we have here?
If Patrick was here, he'd be saying, "Who's Fred Astaire?" He'd be laughing at you.
Probably. Yeah. I mean, obviously, he doesn't know anything about the history of the world. I tell you.
Well, no.
It's too bad. It's too bad.
Yeah, Randy had a good point about some of the synthetic materials are certainly cheaper than the jute with the edge roll, and the improvement. Sometimes it's looked as an improvement too. For instance, nylon webbing, which is an example of something that works too well, especially initially it works well, meaning it has no natural sag to it like the jute webbing, which is exactly what a coil spring needs over time. And that's interesting. But then at a certain point, nylon starts to disintegrate. I've seen it. It's just disintegrates. Do you know how long it takes jute to do the same? Jute will last at least 50, 60% longer, 70% longer than nylon webbing. So the bad thing about nylon webbing with springs is all the tension, it stays in the spring and it goes to the top. it doesn't go to the bottom. And so I've seen really high end furniture that's got coil springs and the nylon webbing with all the springs. It's like a rocky road to where, Jimmy? Rocky road to where?
I don't know, Kevin. Where are you going with that?
Well, there's a joke there somewhere,
All
but
right, go ahead. Well, go ahead. Explain to the audience there, the live members anyway.
so Devin asked a question: is there any benefit to stretching from the upright position on smaller pieces like this? You have a choice. Just wondering if you can pull more if you're pulling down from top to bottom. What do you think, Jimmy? Do you understand what she's saying?
Um, well, you know what I was thinking of, to be honest with you, trying it this way. I mean, for me, it's,
Trying what way?
get a little bit of leverage on, with the piece being upright the way it is right now.
Yeah.
Maybe a little more leverage.
So this brings up an interesting point. Slip seats. This is kind of like a slip seat. It moves. You can't. It's not stationary. It's a very awkward piece. It's not easy,
It's a
Jimmy.
lightweight piece, so it will
It's
move at
light. It moves. Slip seats are the same. The manufacturers have a trick with slip seats. They have a machine that makes them, but the machine doesn't stretch fabric. It really doesn't. I mean, you've guys seen my YouTube videos where I've done slip seats, and I take it step by step through the process. And there is a step by step process of what Jimmy's doing. He didn't arrive to this point without a process, right, Jimmy?
right.
Came to the foam. You use edge roll in there. Did you use cotton or Dacron?
Cotton.
Yeah. Do you remember how you took the foam and you kind of tucked it inside where the edge roll was? Randy says he's Helen. I use it on most seats. Keep the fabric from wearing on the hard edge. Yep. So this chair that I'm doing, this 1840 chair, you guys, sometimes the frame makers really were in tune with the upholsterers. They've got the wing on. You guys have to see this when it's done. It's really amazing
Well,
because the wing on the 1840 chair is razor edge. It's like a razor edge, but it's beveled to come to the razor edge. I don't know how to describe it except that what it's done is I've got it upholstered. They're not easy to do. But if it's upholstered right, it really shows off the curves really beautifully. And wait till you see it. I have to make a point of showing it to you guys. But there's these transition lines that we talk a lot about on the online classes, especially because we have time. Right, Jimmy? Do you remember that a lot of times me talking about transition lines
oh, with fabric.
with fabric and also materials? Ultimately it's the fabric with a good transition line, but we talk a lot about that in the building process, remember?
Go ahead, continue. Go ahead. Don't stop.
Well, no, it's just a little plug for the online classes, which get into a lot more depth than even, of course, this. We get into it a lot of the depth.
Yes, hopefully with the upcoming projects that we're thinking of, we can, explore that a little bit more, get back to, what you were talking about with, I think always obviously trying to remember some of the basics of each project and some of the lessons of upholstery and how it applies to ottomans, to wingback chairs, to any other any other project we're going to be doing this year.
Is that the first end that you're doing,
No,
Jimmy?
this is the second.
Second. After you're done with that, let's put it up and just look at it
Okay.
when you're done. And Jimmy's using the hand stapler, which I think is a good startup product for people if you're not sure about where you're going with your skill, or if you just got a one chair that you're doing or whatever. I think Daphne started with her hand gun, and I think it's a great way to start. I wish they were around when I started, because I went the way Randy went with the electric gun. I'll tell you something about electric staple guns. They're heavy, and they send that. I'm not kidding. They send that impulse out. That electrical pulse goes right through you. And the other thing is they break easy because of the force, I think, because of the electrical current. It's just the way it's made. I don't think they've made a good staple gun that lasts long. They have made the BEA staple gun is the best. Actually, Daphne, how you doing on that? If you're still looking and still on here, how is that working out for you? If you've got that hooked up yet, that BEA gun, the pneumatic gun, she says yes, that is the gun I started with, and I had to use it yesterday because I broke the connection to my compressor by falling on it. Oh my God. Daphne. Daphne fell on a compressor and broke it, Jimmy.
She's obviously going at a torrid pace there. I can tell.
She said she loves the BEA. She said she's very sad because I have a thread in my compressor. I used to get a screw extractor. It was comedy. She said, "Ouch." Randy says, "Jimmy, where you going?"
I'm leaving.
Is
I'm
it
done
something
here.
I said? Look at that, Jimmy. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, the difference of working at home and working in a shop.
Well, you know what, Jimmy? Excuse me for a second. Just walk over there from that. Look at this. Right? Jimmy can walk around his whole project. What? He's got at least 2 or 3 feet all the way around. That makes a
Yes.
huge difference.
Oh, yeah.
Plus, you know what else, you guys? If you haven't done it, Daphne or Randy, I'm sure you guys have thought about this, but a nice subfloor. I used to work in a shop where they made a subfloor.
Okay.
You know, they got the basement floor and they got the 2x4s flipped up and they had a plywood on that. You'd be surprised at the end of the day how good you feel.
Mm-hmm.
If you're working on a cement floor all
Oh,
day.
that drains you.
Oh,
Yeah,
and right now
absolutely.
what we have here is a carpet, so this is kind of nice. We want you, Jimmy, to
You're
really
so
feel
full of
good
yourself.
when
Oh,
you come
my.
in here. I mean, the diva wants his
You-
things. I'm just kidding. You know,
Um,
Jimmy, you did such a good job. Next week, we're going to work on your bow ties to get those a little tied up. bow
Yes,
tie
and
pleats.
well, you know what? Next week you show the different style. I mean, again, I have another ottoman that I did in a prior class,
Yeah.
and it was a different edging from this. I know what's going to happen. This is going to be a different style from what I have at home.
Mhm.
But to show some of the different,
Sure.
how, you know,
Sure.
maybe we can
I
work
think
some.
next week we'll probably finish this,
Okay.
hopefully. And so I think I'll have Jimmy close us out. I'm going to check the
Again?
comments one
I-
more time. Yeah, again, Jimmy, you do good at that. Actually, you're the only
Yeah,
certified
so
actor
you're
we
the
have.
Johnny Carson, I'm the Edgar Man. Oh yeah, that was another old show.
No, you're the one with the SAG award or whatever it is. Or
I had 10 seconds in the town. That
it's
was
more
it.
than 10 seconds more than anybody I know has.
Yeah,
so
everybody thought it was a big scene. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about?
before we get going, I want to catch up on some of the messages here. Daphne just says that she was gluing the GIMP on the chairs and she tripped
Okay.
because she was so focused. Somebody made a comment. I don't know if it was Randy. I did a video. I think it was the A to Z where everything was falling, and I so you're not the only one, Daphne. Don't worry about it. I'll let. I think this is good advice. I'll let Randy give you some more advice on the type of hoses and everything. But Jimmy, I think we're going to have Jimmy close us out.
Yes. So
Keep
again,
it clean, Jimmy.
I will. I always keep it clean. Well, okay, there was that other week. Okay, but anyway, thank you for all the time that we had today. I hope that you got a little bit out of this little lesson that again I did at home, which is probably a big mistake. But again, hope to see you next week, and we will have hopefully maybe even this project done for you. So have a good week, everyone. Take care.
Thanks, everybody.